No, this is all the money that we have.
What is this feeling? It's like
This feeling?
It's like all of my problems have gone away.
I think you broke my foot.
Eddie, I need more money.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spin Rack. This is Mars here. I'm here with my boy Petey. Petey, say what is up?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, today we're going to be talking about that huge hit right now, Venom, Our Last Dance. And what can we say? We've both seen the movie and we've also been reading news about it. I'm going to start off with my boy Petey, who is fresh in his mind. Whoa, Petey, tell me a little bit. What's your take on this movie? A brief intro, and what's your take?
Basically, they introduced this villain that I don't know who the hell he is, but I guess he's from the comic books.
Very popular in comics.
Huh?
That crossover with the
Oh, you're going to talk about that? They just said, hey, well, the interesting part is this movie kind of plays to what we've kind of heard about alien invaders into there, that they're not actually from other planets. They might be from alternate universes. So they kind of shift their way into our space in different ways. So we see Venom, who's in the bar where we last saw him, and he shifts back to his reality. And his reality is actually our reality, because when we get to the end, it has the regular Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty in the MCU is brown. I like to say that, but also they regretfully, instead of just being brown or dark-skinned Statue of Liberty, it has the Captain America shield, so it kind of kills it. So anyway, that is neither here nor there. Comes back in the bar, and basically they're wanted man. They wanted from the episodes of what happened last, but we actually found out the person who died was actually saved. And they bring the person back. They have the venom in them. And we have this woman, I guess, is going to become another Venom half thing, which is, I guess, it was Shriek or something like that. And it's funny because we have all of these, I guess like Brits, and that we know that they're Brits, but they're all doing these American accents. So it's kind of jarring to me because people that I don't have issue with, well, mainly the girl, because I know her from being, from the was it Manchester or the soccer show? And her accent was a little, not that it was bad, it's just I know how she sounds, so it was kind of odd seeing her do an American accent. So anyway, basically on the run at the same time, we see that they're expecting some heavy things coming from the aliens, and these, since obviously Eddie Brock and Venom are supposedly the reason why the person died, she would tell Edifor, who's this military guy, is like, hey, I want to take him out. So at the same time, when we see this monster from the other side, he's locked up, and they introduce this nutty thing called the Codex. Whenever you see the Codex, things are going to go left in your story. So they have the Codex, it's connected to Venom, and it's connected to the last movie or something like that of Venom dying. And now with Eddie dying and then being brought back, that means it has some sort of connection to the Codex. So they're like, this creature's like, if we capture Venom, kill one of them, and bring the Codex back, then we can free this nutty creature that's locked up. So they have a plan. So at the same time, Eddie and Venom decide, hey, we're on the run, let's go to New York for some strange reason. Well, who decides if you're a public figure? It's like in the Fugitive went back to Chicago. They say Dr. Richard Kimball is actually in Chicago right now. We're not sure where he's at. So and practicing medicine. So he decides he's gonna take a plane back, having a pseudo Tom Cruise scene. But then this creature that comes from this other place can see Venom and can see the Codex on his back. So Venom is like, hey, all we need to do is not turn into Venom, and that saves us some money. And We could save some money as far as graphics, and we could stay alive.
I
So,
saw that
so,
slipping, bro. I saw that slipping. Crazy graphics.
so then, but at the same time, this all leads them to, as they're going and they take this, this horse ride, they figure they spotted it with the CCTV all around the world. They spot Eddie Brock in a couple places, and they find him when he comes into this town after doing this scene with the horse that we all see. So we see the government chase after Eddie, and then Eddie and Venom connect for a little while, and then the creature is following them because I think,
Xenophage.
huh?
Xenophage. Xenophage.
Xenophage comes in and so basically it's this push pull from this other world trying to kill Eddie, and at the same time the government decide whether Eddie's good or not. Is he the lethal protector? And through a variety of scenes, the other symbiotes are like, you know what? We need to kind of work together to take out this thing because there's going to be a bunch of them, and we work together to lock this guy up. Let's work together to keep him from coming in. So that leads to most of the story. Your big fight scenes, and there's only like two at one point. Then there's like four of them. It just gets crazy. Then there's a bunch of different symbiotes fighting and all that stuff. So then it gets a little mushy because they realize somebody's gonna die in this thing. So they're playing this up to kind of be the close of this thing. And then Venom decides that he's gonna take, since Eddie was so heroic in getting the people away, getting the creatures away from the people. Now Venom does his plan to take out the thing, and they stop the creatures from coming back. And a lot of people die. But at the same time, we get Shriek at the end. That's the other Venom, right? Is that what the character is? Is the female Venom that has this light speed or something like that?
Electricity, right?
Electricity, yeah. So she has some sort of electrical powers, and she has venom in her. She saves the East Indian girl. So, and Eddie Brock survived. He goes into New York, sees the Statue of Liberty, but Venom says you'll see him at some point later, but it looks like he's gone. But then at the end, I only stayed for one after credit scene. I don't know if there was one after that. The creature says it's going to get free. So it might be more.
So, I mean, this film, when it first came out, people were like, hey, is this the superhero genre kind of dead? It's not doing, it didn't do bang up as much as people thought it was going to be. But guess what? It has crossed the $320 million range right now.
Mm-hmm.
It has made back its money, which they made of 120 million, and it is doing well, especially overseas. People overseas seem to like the film. Could it be that this is this perfect time? It's Halloween. I think Venom couldn't have done any better. There is a niche for Venom. It is not Spider-Man, but there's a niche for Venom, and people who love to see that whole symbiote, you know, the symbiote and Eddie Brock getting into it. Now, just in case, I don't know if you heard the new news. It seems that they're going to expand the Venomverse, as they're calling it, Sony. So they're going to have other characters, and there's going to be a new Venom. That little cockroach you're saying is that, but that little cockroach may still have some part of Venom in him, or some other symbiote, and they're going to use I think the guy in the bar. I don't know if they say they may use a guy in the bar or use someone else to reinvigorate the Venom universe. So they're going to have someone named Venom possibly next time for the fourth movie, but it doesn't look like Tom Hardy's coming back for that one directly. But I think he really wants to come back for like a crossover um, Venom Spider-Man movie, or probably a Venom No movie or something like that. I think I was listening to this guy Emergency Austin where he said that Sony's decided they want to make no the Thanos of the Venomverse now, because in the comics he was extremely popular.
Yeah.
The crossover with Donnie, I think it was Danny Cates. He was the one who wrote it, the lead writer there. It was extremely successful. I mean, right now, if you look at Amazon, it's like one of the top recent top what do you call that trade paperbacks. It's like 1,200 almost 1,191 rating right now from 2021. So compared to more recent crossovers, this one was definitely a lot more successful. So they want to definitely, with the introduction of a new character in Null, they really want to bring him and make him a much bigger character. And of course, it's being played by Andy Serkis, who was the director of the second movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know Andy Serkis because he's played in many movies such as Planet of the Apes, right? He's been the ape in Planet of the Apes, and where other things where you have to use a non-human character, and he's represented. But getting back to Venom, Venom's doing very well, particularly internationally. It's kicking butt. This looks at the way it's going. It could probably make up to $500 million. Now, question there is a strong like I said, Venom. The question is, Petey, do you like the movie Venom? Last
So
Stand.
the question is, since I gave the overview, do you like it? Did you like it?
Okay, so I mean, I've looked at all three Venom movies. Second movie was definitely pretty weak. This one is definitely a step up. Now, we were at the con and we saw the director of Venom, right?
Yes.
He was the lead writer, I believe, of the movie, Kelly Marcel,
For the
and
first two movies, yes.
and then she also, I mean, what better? I think it was. They made it seem as though the decision was made by Tom Hardy, or he was influential in the decision to have her be the main actor. But just looking at her bio, I was like, wow, she did the film adaptation of 50 Shades of Grey. Who would have thought?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. And then she goes
What
on
do you
and
mean,
does
as a
so.
writer, she wrote the
Yeah,
screenplay for it?
you know. You think about it, you're like, what the heck? These things are like completely different. You know, there was also a TV series called Terra Nova. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. Um, but coming off being her very first feature film, this is literally her first feature film. She didn't do one in college. She didn't do anywhere else. I thought it was a decent execution. Now, um, I think though a lot. I'm pretty surprised, and that the audience wasn't confused with the whole. They're introducing a brand new villain, no, which many people don't know about. They're introducing this whole concept of the Codex that when you have Venom and Eddie Brock together, the xenophages can see the Codex. I mean, it's like anywhere in the world they can still see you, and
Yeah.
they can come after you. And these creatures, the xenophage, are extremely powerful. They can like rip symbiotes apart, humans. They
Eat
can
them,
eat them,
shred people like a wood shredder.
right. And they're pretty fearsome creatures that we can see. So I thought it was pretty interesting there. I love the group that was working. I think it's called Imperium with the military group.
Yes.
Imperium went after the symbiote, how they've been studying for a while, and they knew how to tackle someone like Venom. You know, they had a 6-man or 8-man team, military team. They dropped in, they went into the water, the sound. I was like, wow, that's cool. But then my problem always comes up is when you make somebody so powerful, like, and again, this goes to the xenophage. Yes, you have to make it. You have to up the antes, so people are like, oh my gosh, can Venom actually win? But dude, there was a point where I was thinking, if one xenophage is so powerful, how the hell do you handle multiple xenophages? And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's really upping it. And this is going to be a big spoiler. What Venom does is basically he just covers them all up, brings them to this particular weapon.
Roswell destruction. It's like they use acid to get rid of all the Roswell stuff, but it's
And so
actually phony. It's a phony thing because Roswell's still many miles below where they're at.
we don't know. The government has told us there's no Roswell, so we believe that. Okay,
We don't believe that.
we believe that. So
There's no
long story
believing
short,
that at all.
long story short, it is he. That's how he finally kills him and ends up dying himself too. Another aspect that I like is the fact that the government, I really like the fact that they Imperium, I think is what they're called. You have different scientists, and the scientists actually break some of these vials.
You froze. That means it's all me now. So since it's all me on this thing, in actuality, I say it was just an okay movie. It's the purpose of it was a little I don't know, but I think Tom Hardy and Venom kind of carries it. It is similar to an episode of Men in Black where I think Agent J had a alien symbiote and the head would be on the side here. And that's established from a long time ago. Wait a second, I think I'm getting a call from Mars right now. Hello?
Yeah, crashed again, bro.
I see. I see. So I'm just closing out this show. Mars is on the phone. I was going to show the name, but then he'll get mad at me. So ultimately, what I say while we're waiting for Mars to come back is that I enjoyed the movie to some extent. I didn't like the mushy stuff because it's the close of the trilogy.
What mushy stuff?
Of them moving to that one of these guys is gonna die. Then they show the cut and all the sad stuff and whatnot, and then he heals him. It's like, well, why didn't he just heal him? Why would we have to go through all the sad and mushy stuff? And they said, don't worry, Eddie. Don't worry, you did good. And then, but the scene I liked the most was the Venom in the casino. That cracked me up. That he went totally nuts at the slot machine, and then he sees the woman from the store, and they're like, "Oh, well, you look hot." He's like, It's like, you look good, Eddie. I'm always hot. So, and then the whole dance thing, and I'm saying, like, Marvel kind of tries to put in a dance scene, but it was just so wacky. We had these two characters that we've seen for so long. That's when you can do these things and it works because you're relying on us knowing the characters well enough. So when we see Venom turn into Venom, it's like they don't care. That's the thing. The fun part is that there was a Miss Chen, I can't remember her name. She's like, "You got the big guy with you?" She's like, "Yeah." They do the dance scene. And then he's like, "No, you're not going to do that." Like, yes. And he comes out. Have you guys been practicing? And then you had him kind of roll up to the chandelier, and she goes against the chandelier, and they do all these dance moves, and then the monster comes. It was just a great. This is what you can, like, the point when they say the characters writing themselves, and obviously the characters didn't necessarily write themselves, but you put it in a situation that was totally illogical, but it was just fun because we know the characters. And that's one of the things that you can rely on when you're doing your storytelling is try to rely on the characters carrying you through some of the more ridiculous things where you're breaking off from the narrative, where the narrative is that they can't go together. And it's like, no, we're just going to do this scene and we're going to have some fun with it. And I think a lot of the other ones, they try to do dance scenes and this, that, and the other, but you really need for us to already kind of connect with the characters for those moments. So it's like when you, I guess like Grease. So when you're doing the song, kind of, you can connect with the scene. But it was the wackiest thing ever, but I think it worked. It was a lot of fun. It didn't work as far as the narrative, but it was just fun. So I say it worked because it was fun. So, and then I think, but at the same time, with the action, it could also follow it. So even if I were to put this into the category of, big blockbuster action, I could still follow it. So, I think the first one, of course, is the best. I don't think they were able to figure this out, but there's been something here in this franchise that kind of works. And even though it was very cynical with the Eddie Brock voice, I don't know why he chose that. But at the same time, Batman, the classic Batman stuff, has a bad voice. So, it's a thing where if you like Eddie Brock and Venom and their adventures together, you might want to check this out.
Yeah, this was and I agree with you, Petey. This movie was like tailor made for Tom Hardy, 100%. You know what I'm trying to say? He chose this vehicle. He uses this vehicle, and he's made a lot of money off of this vehicle. You know,
Yeah,
and we know he's acted in some weird movies over the years. Let's say what it is. You know, I mean, Tom Hardy hasn't acted in
yeah.
movies that you're like just automatically roll off the tongue. But this movie is his. And so I think if he ever wants to come back, if they do the Venom verse and he wants to come back, he will come back. I wouldn't be surprised if he has an ownership stake or some type of thing that locks him in to have first say in any of these things, just like how the Wolverine, you
Hmm.
know, I didn't know whether he was going to work. I was thinking more Flash Thompson as opposed to Eddie Brock, but he killed it. And this is his. So if you like the other ones, there's no way you're going to not like this one. You want to see the conclusion. Again, is it really a conclusion? I don't know. All I can say is Wolverine came back.
Well,
Right?
that's the other thing with Deadpool thing of saying this is the end, when it's like, we need to see more of the relationship because not Wolverine and Deadpool, but Wolverine, no, sorry, Deadpool and his girlfriend. So that was the kind of heart of the story. And they haven't been able to get that back in the other stories. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about here. So other thing is that I think a lot of people are saying, oh, you can't do Venom because Spider-Man's not there. But at the same time, they decided to, if everyone wants Spider-Man in the MCU, you just can't get your Venom in there. So they kind of, you know, took us back to the real world and just did the story they were doing. So I can't
But
fault
yeah,
them for that.
why didn't they do a Spider-Man? I mean, I think that's one of the biggest disappointments in this whole series. Why haven't they done a Spider-Man? So the
I
first
think,
movie, 856 million, right? And the budgets have been roughly the same. I think this is something that's really good. The budgets have been around 110, 120 million dollars consistently. You know, normally you have the normal superhero inflation where all of a sudden the budgets get bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But here, when you take a look at the numbers, I don't know if I have this share. I don't know if I can share. I
oh
can
my
share,
God, here we go with this.
but when you take a look at numbers and you see, the budgets have been roughly the same. So this has been a very profitable project. Total budget is 336, right? 1.68 billion, right?
Hmm.
Here, first one was 856. The second one did 500, but this one's still running, so it's probably very possible to get over 500 million. Profitable movie, 5 times the amount, and of course the opening weekend wasn't big, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's going to be bad. It's not going to work," but it is doing well worldwide. Even but the question is, why didn't they put? They did the Spider-Man, all three Spider-Man in the last home movie, right? Spider-Man home movie. Why didn't they do the same thing with the Venom? Because people were talking about they're gonna have Spider-Man. They've been saying they're gonna have Spider-Man since the very first movie, and they hasn't. And so the question is, why do they not have it?
I
I
think
mean,
that I think that you're asking not rhetorical. I think that Marvel in their deal with basically putting out product where Sony just makes money is to kind of keep. They don't want Spider-Man connected to what they're doing. So we got a Craven thing happening. We obviously had three Venoms. Already had the Venom just happen. So I just don't think they want them. They were okay with teasing the idea to get the guard, but the post credit scenes don't mean anything now. Like they can hint of Venom meeting Spider Man, and then you know, for the astronomical amount of money they might make on Spider Man, which wasn't initially they could have made the same amount of money on their own, but at the same time, it's free money. So if it's free money for, what's it, Homecoming and Far From Home, and then you get a little less free money, let's be generous and say it was half. It's still free money on a billion, you know? And, then maybe the other thing is that there's nothing for free in this world. So maybe, Sony's making money off of merchandising, So it's like they had to make some sort of deal to get more. And nobody gives, you can't say, well, Sony makes bad movies, so we just gave it to Marvel. Like they're talking about doing more Hulk now, but they're talking about doing. They possibly might do Amadeus Cho, but they're saying Marvel's moving towards a Hulk thing. But they're not really interested in a situation where, with a character like the Hulk, they already know what the numbers are because they were connected to the second movie, and it didn't blow up. But at the same time, I don't know. I think their idea is kind of Marvel's kind of putting multiple characters in movies, so they've been very hush hush about this next Spider-Man movie, where he has a secret identity back, but Zendaya is going to be in there. So will they just have a newer relationship where he kind of meets Zendaya and they have a relationship with there, or they do the Hollywood, oh my God, you never told me that we had a relationship before, you just went along with it, and that sort of thing. So instead of moving on for the future, because on the other side, no one was supposed to reference Scarlet Witch's kids. It wasn't supposed to be a footnote to come back to. She had a hysterical pregnancy. Her mind was completely wiped, and somehow they decided, no, here it comes back. I'm pretty sure Agatha Harkness could make sure that her mind was completely wiped of the kids, but at the same time, they're like, no, this is going to drive her insane. She'll remember the kids and she'll go insane, rather than, no. So, but anyway, I just think that Sony, Marvel, and their dealings are saying, well, for this free money, we just want it on our side. We don't want to. We'll do our version of the secret Sinister Six, and then you can keep doing movies that you want to do. But they gave them, that's what they wanted, was a Sinister Six, and we still got a Sinister Six. So
that's what they wanted. Well, we'll see. I mean, Craven, we saw that at the con. Hopefully, this whole Sony Spider universe that they're trying to create, hopefully it hits off. But it would help if they could actually use a Spider-Man, right? That's what I gotta say.
It would just be fun. And the problem is that you don't have the same sort of thing, but they did leave some Venom there. So the idea, and they haven't revealed what the next Spider-Man is. So the thing is, could Spider-Man connect with Venom and become, but then the problem is that it's the same movie as Spider-Man 3, which was Spider-Man getting possessed by Venom and separated, and then you have to wait till the next movie to do an Eddie Brock fight, that sort of thing. So, and who knows who Eddie Brock is in this universe? It could be a totally different guy. So.
Oh, don't make it be a multiverse. Please don't do that.
Oh, now Mr. doesn't want to do multiverse since everyone decided they don't like multiverse anymore.
Hey, I like the multiverse to a degree, but does it have to be applied to everything?
That's what you were applying it to, everything.
You don't need to apply it to everything.
But you were applying it to everything.
To the Marvel Universe stuff. But does it have to go to the Sony stuff? You know what I'm trying to say? Come on, man. And let's not even say Star Trek was stealing some of it at one time. But we're not even going to go there. But hey, any further words?
No. Possibly check it out, and hopefully we'll have some more movie reviews for you.
All right, hey. Oh yeah, it's going to be a hot month, November. If you like what you hear, give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Spin a rack.
Out.